It helps if I click the unmute button. Thank you, Ritual. I appreciate it. Hello. Welcome to the Saturday stream. I apologize for not clicking unmute. My day is going terrifically, as you can tell. I've had a headache going on about 12 hours at this point. So hopefully it goes away by the end of the day, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm super tired. Hopefully everybody else out there has had a wonderful weekend, had a good week. Mine was pretty good, pretty productive. I'm doing some stuff at work that's actually starting to pay off, so that's always good. What else? What do we got? What is... No. YouTube is giving me errors. Why are you giving me errors? Oh. We're not getting enough data from you. You always say that, YouTube. It's because I use H.265 to stream. Just so that's awful. That is my life, my friend. I will just get headaches, and then they'll last for a day. Like, I don't get, like, the visual stuff from, like, migraines, but the only thing I can imagine is that this is me experiencing a migraine. It just, minus all the fun parts about a migraine. I don't think any part of a migraine is fun. But, that's been my life. It's been my life for all 42 years I've been on the planet. Speaking of, who do we have in chat? We've got Jack68K. Hello. Jack says PicoGUS. That's right, we are doing PicoGUS stuff today. We've got Garth Beagle here. Hello, welcome to the stream. Also, of course, Ritual, make ritual noises here. Good to see ya. Trina is here. Trina's Technobabble. Hello, welcome to the stream. Yeah, no, it's how my body is. It sucks. But first thing I want to say is not actually related to anything that we're going to be doing today. Okay. First, it's not going to be a super long stream, mostly because I'm not a musician. Also, I don't have a whole lot of stuff set up for the demo today because one of my hard drives, the hard drive that I record stuff to here in OBS, took a big old crap on Thursday night because of power outage. And the next day, Windows said, hey, there's errors on this drive, let me repair it. And I'm like, okay, great. And then it erased the entire drive. So I've been trying to recover data off of it for this whole last week, basically. And I haven't been able to, because now it's Saturday and I need this computer for streaming. I needed to stop trying to recover data off this drive. So I think it's just a goner. It's annoying, like, I can get back the stuff that I made for the channel, but, like, and I have a backup of, like, the important stuff, like the channel bumper and all the animations and stuff, like, all that stuff's backed up. But, like, I went to a friend's birthday party in VR that night, Thursday, and I recorded, like, she gave a speech, and it was really adorable, and I recorded it, and I wanted to give it to her, and the hard drive crashed, like, right after that. Thanks so much. And that's the part that I'm really annoyed about, is that I lost that video file. So, in light of that, this whole week has basically been me trying to get that data back and then planning a new recording infrastructure here in the studio to make sure this is happening in. Right, when I upgraded my home lab, I put 2.5 gig Ethernet between the home lab and this PC. And of course, anything else I plug into my 2.5 gigabit switch. And what I'm going to do is OBS, once the drives come in, actually I think they might be in an Amazon box right by the door right now. OBS is going to record to a mirrored array of hard drives plugged into my home lab from basically tomorrow onwards, because I'm sick of, like, losing my data and stuff. And yeah, it's been a trial this week. So hopefully no longer a trial. We'll see. I also used this large drive on this machine for a bunch of other stuff that I do in VR. So, like, I was working on a world project and that's all gone, so I have to redo all of that. I was working on some Avistar stuff for myself, and that's all gone now, so I have to redo all of that. I have a couple of things backed up, but not nearly as much was backed up on that than everything else. So yeah, it's frustrating. Remember, backups, 3, 2, 1, 3 backups, 2 different kinds of media, 1 offsite. Don't do what I do. Today, before we get into the music, I want to say one thing. This bundle of cables here is, I got my 5-pack of cables for this card back here. I teased this the other day, and this thing's wild. This is the Matrox DigiDesktop, which is it's dual these guys here, this one and that one. It's dual Millenium graphics cards. Basically, you've got a dedicated 8 megabytes of VRAM per Millenium. You get a that's a DSP, I think. There's your DAC up in the corner, and there's the second DAC for the second Millenium, and then this is an FPGA, an Altera FPGA, and then you get these 2 MGA chips here that I think are video ingest chips, because the cables that come with these, this is the weird connector on the back of it, and these cables, I'm like, oh yeah, it's just another one of these quad display things that that Matrox did all the time. No, this is one cable. This is one cable for this card. You'd have 2 of these for the card to use both connectors on it, and this gets you, so you plug this end into the card, right? That end goes into the card. That gives you a display out and dual composite in. So you've got 2 S video, I don't know if you can see that with my stupid camera. There's 2 S video, and then one of these adapters is BNC adapters for doing regular old composite. So you have, when one card, you have 2 monitor outputs and 4 composite video inputs on the same card. This thing's nuts. I haven't tested it yet because this just came in yesterday, but I so want to. And if this thing works, I am totally using this for like capturing game systems and stuff, or just doing like crazy video, like old style VHS video work. I think it'd be hilarious. So yeah, this is about ready to demo. I might demo this one next week for stream. We'll see. Relatedly, the G100 also came in, the Matrox G100 that I had ordered, and it works. Tested it, it works. It's something. That's gonna be, you'll find out how much of a something it is on the next video, because that is currently in progress. So yeah, anyway, let's get old. Let's go into DOS and take a look at Fast Tracker 2. We're gonna look at, basically I'm gonna give you a rundown of the program and how it works. There are places around to download Fast Tracker, and if I was better at my job, I would have put links to these places to download Fast Tracker in the description, because it will mostly function in like a DOS box, but the actual system requirements for the thing are not high. You can run on a 486 with Sound Blaster, or a fast 386 with a GUS Max, I think is fine. But let's go over to the DOS. Where is the DOS? There is the DOS. Ta-da! Sorry about the darkness. It's this thing is running on sorry, it's not a great view of the machine. But we've got a not quite period correct 1999 Super Socket 7 board. This is the one that was gifted to the channel. That we did a bunch of Cyrix overclocking on, if you remember that. It is currently running my Pentium 133, which is the slowest chip that this board will run, because I wanted to go slower, but my Pentium 75, as you know, took a big turd, and I actually sent it out to get repaired, which Pickle's not here, but Pickle is a frequent viewer of the channel and repaired it for me for a very nominal fee. So he's awesome. He is the MVP for that one. And it only just arrived back today, like this morning. So I haven't had a chance to I wanted to do it on the Pentium 75 because it would have been perfect vintage. But we've got Matrox Millenium for our video card. That's why the screen's a little dark. Millennium's VGA output's just a little bit dark. And then of course the PicoGUS you can see right prominently on the top with the thanks on the back. And we're obviously using the GUS emulation for this one. I'm gonna reboot this machine so y'all can see the boot sequence, but it is pretty bog standard. It is a via Apollo MVP3. I guess VP3. They didn't call it the MVP chipset until the Pentium 2, Pentium 3 era. Yep, we'll boot into DOS and automatically program the PicoGUS, and we're ready to go. And I see that. I left my... This was running my ESS for a while, and I left my initialization routine for the ESS in the top of my AutoExec. That's naughty, but everything does work. If we go into my mod directory and FastTracker2, and run FastTracker2, there it is. This is... Oh, you can't see that at all on stream. I'm so sorry. Oh boy, we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about exactly what I mean, what you can't see, in just a second. This is FastTracker2. So this is a pretty typical mod tracker. That's what this program is. This is, I guess the broadest equivalent that you can think of this as is it's a little tiny DAW. Just a little tiny DAW. You don't have a lot of things like dynamic, well, you have dynamic tempo, sort of, you gotta program it in yourself. But you don't have things like recording just audio, just random audio straight into a track. This is all triggered notes. It's not MIDI. That's the important distinction. It's not MIDI, but it's triggered notes. You have, obviously, the largest feature on the screen is this here down at the bottom, which is the piano roll, or, you know, affectionately known as the spreadsheet, which has your active channels. You can move between them. You can also move between these little columns next to those channels, and all of these things do things. And I will show you exactly what all of these things mean in just a moment. But this thing, the reason I call it a little micro DAW is that you've got things like a full sample editor here where you can actually just like make samples if you want. You can also import and modify samples. And you have an instrument editor as well that lets you define volume and panning envelopes, so you can do your attack, your ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, release envelopes, as well as programming in vibrato. These are all features of FastTracker and the FastTracker mod format, which is the XM file format. And then down at the bottom, you've got a piano with a bunch of zeros on each key. And what that does is you can actually define multiple samples for an instrument and then map them to the keyboard, sort of like a wavetable would do. It's kind of a cool feature. I make use of it a little bit in the demo that I'm going to show you, but let's open up a song and maybe more of this will make sense. Yeah? So close the instrument editor. All of these buttons are basically toggles. You turn them on and off just by clicking on them. So to open something, you go to the Disk Operations menu, because why call it open or save? It's Disk Operations. I've got a bunch of stuff on here already. I'm not going to play any of these because they're probably going to get copyright struck. So I'll go into the folder that says mine, and I apologize in advance for the cringe. The two I've got demoed here that are actually like reasonable and listenable pieces of music are from the last time I used this program seriously, which was in high school, which was 25 years ago now. I kid you not. For example, for maximum cringe, here is my track Somber Song, which I wrote in, I believe, early junior year of high school, 1998. This is the height of my cringe. The height of my cringe. But just as a demo, it's awful. I apologize, all of the samples are at maximum volume. I had no subtlety back then. Also, I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I said, not a musician. Wasn't a musician back then. But if we play the song, you've got a play song button up here in the top. The piano roll is going to roll up, and every time the piano roll hits this middle bar here in the piano roll, every time that hits notes, they will be triggered with the appropriate instrument. So I'll just give you a quick look here. Before I die of embarrassment, we'll just stop that there. Let's go over what's happening here. So to navigate around the piano roll, it's arrow keys go up and down. You can also use page up and page down to scroll by it looks like measures. So let's talk about the piano roll. Right on the left, we've got beats. So each one of these is a beat, sorta. Basically, you can define this any way you want to, depending on how fast you run your piano roll across. You can have beats on each white note or each white line here. So like this would be a beat 2 3 4, beat 2 3 4, beat 2 3 4, beat 2 3 4, etc. If you want, or you can do beat 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 beat, and you can have each white line be a measure if you want. If you're doing very, very non-granular music. In this case, it looks like I think I'm doing 4 lines. It looks like I do beats on each white line. So we've got 0, 4, 8, and C. Everything's in hex because of course it is. It's all programmer stuff. And then that's my first bar, right? So from F, I can get this to select for me. All right, use the mouse. Use the mouse, dork. So that's my first measure. There's 4 beats. I've got granularity of basically 16th notes in here to do whatever I want as each beat goes by. So we've got 4 beats, 4 4. We have subdivision of 4 on each beat, so we can do 16th notes. If we just pile in note triggers, that'd be 16th notes. And you can see over here on channel 3, we're doing some stuff like that. But that doesn't quite sound that way if I play this again. That doesn't sound like 16th notes, it's a little faster. And that's because we've got something here in the very last column, which is called an effect. And this is what makes trackers so much more powerful than just plain old MIDI composition systems. There's a whole raft of effects that you can do to your triggered notes. And in fact, one of the reasons I picked this particular tracker up so quickly as basically a kid is because in the online help right here, if you go to effects, every single effect in the system is documented. Every single effect that you can do is documented online, ready for you to look at. So you've got your standard effects for arpeggio, portamento, vibrato, tremolo, doing sample offsets, which I'll show. Actually, I use that in here to do a sample offset. I'll show you that in a minute. Panning position. Position jump is moving around inside a pattern. You can set the volume of a triggered note, as well as breaking the pattern that goes to the next pattern. You hit that trigger. And then there's the extended, the E effects, the extended effects, where we've got things like fine-tuned portamentos, loop set and jump, re-triggers, note re-triggers. And if you see that note re-trigger there, 9, re-trigger note, that's what we're doing here in column 3. I've got a bunch of E9 right here at the beginning, and that's what causes that really fast hi-hat right at the start of the pattern. That's how I'm doing that. Then you see I've got another extended one here, ED2, and that is a note delay. So we're in the extended E section, and D is our effect that we're choosing, and that's delay, and I'm delaying it by, in this case, 2 ticks. What is a tick? See this little thing here that says BPM? That's what most people think about when they think about like speed of music. But in a tracker, everything goes back to the original Amiga, and Amigas ran at 50 hertz if you're on in Europe, or 60 hertz if you're an NTSC, because that's how fast the Amiga had to redraw the screen. And that's how they based the speed of these tracking programs. So one scan line would be a tick. So 7 ticks would be 1 note, or 1 beat. So there's a delay. So the higher that number is, the higher the speed number is, the slower the thing goes. The lower the speed number, the faster it goes. So are you confused yet? There's a lot to this. This is from, what, 96? Yeah, this version's from 96, but like trackers go all the way back to like 1990, I think, was the original Ultimate Sound Tracker. Absolutely wild. Now I'm going to put on my headphones so I can hear what you are hearing. Let me know, by the way, if if you can't hear what is being played, but it looks like everybody's happy there. Oh, Ian's here. Hello, Ian Scott. Ian Scott, creator of the PicoGUS, y'all. Goodbye, PicoGUS. Ian says, can't hear it. Okay, can't hear the song. Awesome. Garth says, I hear. Very quiet. All right, good to know. Good to know. Let's fix the volume issue. YouTube wants to run ads. We're going to skip this ad break so we can get the volume fixed. Okay. Hopefully y'all can hear that, because that is the maximum I can make it in OBS. I certainly hope that's loud enough to hear. It's gonna be a little quiet. It's gonna be quieter than I am, because I've got like boosters on my voice and stuff here in OBS. Skilla says that's better. Good. I hope so. Sorry. Yeah. So let's go back to what I was trying to explain earlier. These E9 effects here, these extended 9 effects at the front of this pattern here. If you take another listen, especially if you listen for the hi-hat, it does a little roll on the hi-hat at the start of the pattern, and that's that re-trigger effect that lets you do basically rolls. You can go really nuts at that and end up making like glitch hop out of it if you re-trigger it fast enough. So the other one I wanted to talk about was, the other effect was sample offset, which was in, I need to remember to grab the correct mouse, go back into the help, go into the effects here, sample offset is here, effect number 9, and we've got that here in our pan flute sort of thing going on in channels 0 and 1, and that is it's a fun effect to try and figure out, because it basically, most of the time when you trigger a note, it starts from the start of the sample, right? So if we go to, this is instrument, so here's our instrument, that one there is instrument 5. So if we go to 5 here, go to the sample editor, there's our waveform that we're triggering. If we play it, you can see there's the program playing that sample. And you can see in the second notes, it starts from further in on the sample, right? So we start, the first note is right up against the left side here. It starts at basically the 0 point of the sample. And then later, we come in around here to kind of bypass this early little glissando or whatever it is at the start of the sample. So that is sample offset. And if you're using a sample like if you've got like a really nasty wet 303 synthesizer that you record that you just like play a note and just like crank on the filter knob, you can end up using that in your tracking software by just changing where you start playing that note, right? So you can get a really wet sound if you start it at the very beginning and then go to a dry sound, depending on how you've moved your filter knob when you're making the sample. I love trackers. They're awesome. And the thing about Fast Tracker is that it's basically everything you need to just make tracker music. I think you can even literally just draw in the waveform if you just want to draw some rudimentary like square or saw waves. You can pull in samples. It can read, go into the disk operations here, go into instrument. It has its own instrument format here. The XI is the sound or the Fast Tracker instrument format, but it can also read like normal, I say normal, GUS patches, like just regular GUS patches. So if we go into, it's in MIDI. Here's all the stock GUS patches for an ultrasound. It can just pull them in if you just need like a random sound, and you can't be fussed to like go grab your synthesizer and like sample it. You just pull in a pattern or a patch from your ultrasound, which actually I did a lot back in the day because I had an ultrasound and it was an easy source of samples. So if we go back into Fast Track 2, let's look at another one here. This was mostly, I'll admit, this song was mostly ripped samples because you can go into a track, right? And let's say you like this particular sample. It's this grungy guitar sample. Let's save it out. So we go to sample. We'll call it grunge, and we'll save it. Ta-da! Now we have that sample just pulled out of the mod. I did that so much as a kid. Oh my god. I had no other access to sample libraries. I didn't know where the heck they were or how to get them. Nowadays, though, let me tell you, some kind soul took all of the original Soundtracker sound sample library disks and put them on archive.org. It's a ton of samples. Just absolute madness. So like if we go into the first disc, look at all these things. Every single disc is like this. Just thousands of samples from the original Soundtracker stuff. You want to make some vintage sounding mod music? Piece of cake. Grab Fast Tracker, grab the sample library, you're good to go. So what do you do with these? Well, if you want to change a sample, it's very easy, right? So we've got this instrument selected here, and then we've got this sample selected. So if we just grab a different sample here, are we even going to make something? No, we're not even going to make something that's a guitar. So this is what it sounds like now. If we just load something else in, now it sounds like this. We've done it. Obviously, your changes don't take effect until you save the entire module, so if we just load another module, all of this stuff will be undone, which is fine, because that's what we're going to do. We're going to load in the last, I think this is the last song that I made back in high school. This is mostly just GUS patches. Let's close disk operations and give you a quick listen to this. It's slightly less cringe. It's still pretty bad though. I still haven't found the volume, the sample volume slider. It continues on like that for way too long. Far too long. Yeah. But we can take a look at this. This is a large module. So we've got 22 channels, from channel 0 to 21. we can just kind of scroll across them here and see what each one is doing. And in this case, I'm using just a bunch of channels for like mostly doing echo. Since you don't actually have an echo or reverb effect on an ultrasound or an Amiga, you gotta fake it. Mostly you just fake it by triggering the same note with a little bit of delay and then a lower volume. That's mostly what I'm doing in here. Where do we start? So there's a whole bunch of stuff I haven't even talked about yet in Fast Tracker. You can hook up MIDI keyboards to this if you want to use like an actual MIDI controller to input your sample triggers. There's this whole menu here for transposition, where you can just transpose an entire pattern or an entire song if you just want to put it in a different key because you've got samples that work better with it. It is wild. We've got the instrument editor, and then we've got the extended instrument editor. There's a bunch more stuff you can do with this thing. It's kind of wild. Let's see. Advanced Edit lets us do a bunch of batch operations to our patterns. So like there's a thing called key jazz where you can just like start playing while it's running and just like record stuff live. I'm not that talented, so I can't really make use of it, but you can decide what things you want actually to be recorded when you're key jazzing. You want like the channel, the portamento and tremolo, if you want that all recorded into your pattern while you're key jazzing. Oh, what else? What else? Zap. There's a whole button here called Zap. It erases everything. It just erases everything. That's all it does. And then this one's very important. Nibbles lets you play Snake inside the tracker because that's very important. Extremely important. I don't remember what the controls are, so I'm probably gonna die. Oh, there we go. See, I died. Took me no time at all. Apparently I'm player 2. Yep, I'm player 1. Player 2 died. I don't know what the controls are for player 2. There you go. Extremely important to be able to play Snake inside your tracker. We've got an about box that does some cool stuff because of course it's all made by the demo scene folks. They gotta put something flashy in it. So let's make a little bit of the music here before we finish. And I've got a demo all set up for this. I went sample hopping through the Amiga sample library. So we've got I've put together a basic beat and some not really melody, kind of a bass line sorta. That's all I've got so far. This I just threw together this morning because, like I said, I've been fighting my hard drive all day or all week. So let's put some more stuff in here, right? So we've got currently, in order to put in music, put in instrumentation, you use your keyboard, like a keyboard. So like this is middle C. And you've got white keys here. And then the black keys are up top. As you would expect to find on a black and white ivory keyboard. So, we've got something very simple. I don't even know if this is in a key per se. I don't even know what I'm doing. But I've got like a little bass line walk here. And let's see if we can put some melody over the top of it. I think maybe let's do a little solo. So let's find an instrument for our solo first. And one of the nice parts about using tracker software like this is that auditioning a boatload of samples is actually really, really easy. So let's just open up one of these Amiga sound tracker discs, and I want something that's like high and screamy. That's not screamy. got a lot of... Here we go. Almost. Almost. No. No. That is literally just water. Anybody need a glass of water? You never know. There's no organization of these sample packs whatsoever. It's just like, hey, here's sample disc 4. Have fun. I'm sure there's a catalog for this somewhere, but I have no idea where it would be anymore. Let's see. Electric guitars. That's not what I want. I want something screamier than that. Hey. You never know. You never know what's in here. Got some synths. That's a little too similar to that bass lock that we've got. Let's see. Need the camera sound? But like trying to do this, like I'm trying to do this in like Open Mod Plug Tracker, because OpenMPT is really powerful. There's a lot of stuff in that program. But like trying to audition samples in OpenMPT is just, it's so slow. It's so laborious to just like run through and try and listen to things. And here it's just like, easy, fast. I like it. Sound familiar? I can't. I don't know how to do that. I'm... Go. All kinds of weird stuff in here. I should have found a sound before I started this. I was like, ah, come on, it's a piece of cake. That might work. Again, it's a little too similar. Let's do this. I'll show you how to set up a loop. Okay, so we've got a sample, and this is literally, it's just a sample. We open up the sample editor, it's just some waveforms, and it plays until it stops. That's it. If we want this to, say, I don't know, loop a little bit and have a nice decay and fall off, we've got to do that ourselves. So the first thing we're going to do is, the easiest way is to do a ping pong loop. So we set ping pong down here in the bottom, and then you set your start and end points. You drag them over from the left. So we'll just ping pong this sample out to about, I'd say, here or so. That's a little too much. Not enough. So let's do show range. There we go. So if we zoom in, generally I want to make a loop start and stop on 0 volume. So you don't have quite so much clicking in the loop. In this case, though, I just feel like it's probably not gonna be amazing. Let's see if we can do over here. That looks a little more likely. You can see just moving at one sample has a dramatic influence on how much ticking there is in the ping pong sample and the ping pong loop. That's not bad. Okay. So show all. So we go back to our default zoom. There's our ping pong loop. Now, the thing is now it's just going to play at full volume until we stop it. So we go into the instrument editor and we say, hey, I want a volume envelope. So we'll start high and we'll kind of fall off. And you can tell it falls off a lot. It takes a long time for it to decay. You can tell it where you want the sustain to be, right? An ADSR envelope, attack, decay, attack. Yes, attack, decay, sustain, release, ADSR. So you can tell it where you want it to sustain at, by what point in the graph where you want it to. So basically your attack is however you draw your graph here, and then your decay is again however you draw your graph. And then sustain, it'll just sustain at that volume level. And you let go, and it follows the rest of the volume envelope. It's a little slow. I want it to be pretty quick. I want kind of a bell sound. I wanted something really screamy, but I don't think we're going to get there today. So I need to make this significantly smaller so it happens faster. I think I'm going to put my sustain point here and draw these down. Since it's going to be a bell, we actually don't want to sustain. So I can just hold down a key. And it still uses our loop, but it follows that envelope and it decays off as if it were a larger sample. It's not perfect. But, you know, for using samples from 1991 or 1992 in a tracker from 1996, we're doing all right. We're doing all right. So we'll call this, this is the bell attack. There we go. We'll give it some edgy spelling. Remember the 90s. So now we've got this in here. To add notes, and this is the thing I wanted to mention very early on, like you can't see it, it'll be a problem. Back in the good old days, or the bad old days, depending on who you are and how you feel about the 90s, when you used a computer with a CRT, you have what's called the front and back porch. Each line, you start drawing your image after the front porch, and then you end it at the back porch. And that's the viewable image on the screen, right? You've got an image on a CRT, it sort of floats in the middle of the tube, and that's what you look at. That's where all your text and your graphics are rendered. But the area around it is called overscan. And that's not an entirely unusable area, actually. And a lot of things, a lot of programs for a long time did fun things with that overscan area, usually called the border. Probably most recognizable in like fast loaders for the C64 and the Sinclair Spectrum, where the fast loaders would fire up, and then in order to, you know, let you know that they're working, they just basically set the border color to random things each scan line, and you get all kinds of weird color noise in the borders of the screen. The reason I'm saying this is that in order to tell you that you're recording in Fast Tracker lights up the border. And since we are using LCDs and capture cards and VGA upscalers, we can't see the border anymore. We're only using the visible area of the screen. And so if I press spacebar is what toggles recording, and you can see nothing on the screen changes. Normally, if you're using a CRT, you'd get a big, bright border all the way around the whole screen, telling you you're recording. Very nice indicator. Immediately understand what the heck you're doing, and a good warning to not like do stupid things while you're in record mode. So, am I in record mode? I am in record mode. Normally, the border around the monitor would be lit up if I was in record mode. But record mode lets you edit. And you'll notice that when I put notes in here, it advances the piano roll, right? It advances the spreadsheet. And that's controllable with this little duder up here, add. And right now I'm adding one line every time I press it, but I can add two. Now we skip a line, set it to 4. Now we're putting one in on each beat. And basically that tells you, that's how you tell the program, like, I am putting in 16th notes, or quarter notes, or 8th notes, or whatever. This is not going to delete all these, is it? No, it's not. That's another key combination to delete what you've marked. We can just run through and delete everything we just did. Slow way. I think it's like Control F2 or something to remove what you just did and marked with the mouse. I was looking this up earlier. You'll laugh. There's a reason you can't use this program in Windows. Don't try it. Don't try it. One, it's a DOS program, but don't try running it in Windows, because in order to, let's say you want to copy a section of music that you've written, you would copy it and paste it somewhere else. You can do that. Copy and paste does exist. We go into the keyboard section here. It tells us what all the keys are. But there we go. Block is what we do when you select it. Copy block, Alt F4. So we do Alt F4, and we want to paste it. It's Alt F5. I paste at the cursor, and there it is. It just pastes in. That's why I don't want to do it in Windows. I get why, like, they have all the they've got all the copy paste stuff up in the F keys already. But man, Alt F4 really for copying? Alright, sure. I guess. Anyway, we want to put in some kind of melody over here before we finish the stream out. So what do we want to do? Something like that. So if we go into edit mode, can't see it go into edit mode, unfortunately. Let's do this right here. Yeah, that wasn't right. Not right at all. But this is how you make music in a tracking program. And yes, if you want to delete things, you got to go into edit mode and delete it. Leave edit mode if you don't want to continue making changes to your stuff. Nope. I'm bad at this. I'm bad at, like I said, I'm not a musician at all. I think I want to do this here, actually. Doesn't seem right. Let's see if we can record it. I want to set... So when you record things, you can change these. If you have a slow computer, you can turn off the visualizers, the view meters, or the Fourier analyzers on your channels. And then if you right-click them, you can tell what channels you want to record to. So I want to record to channel 5. Yeah, so that's good enough. So it'll record your note on and note off when you're recording. Yeah, I just could not get my brain to grok that. I just wanted to do it on the second beat. Or on the third beat. Like, come on, brain. So what else do we want to put in here? So the little rectangle here that auto inserted while I was recording, that is a note off. It is an effect built into I think built into Fast Tracker. I don't know if it was a thing that was in original mods, but basically if you don't do a note off, it's like holding down the key on a keyboard, and then a note off is when you take your finger off the note. Sort of like it says on the tin. Wait, what was I doing? Ooh, I'm in edit mode. See? I know I was in edit mode because I don't have my border on. I want to do. I don't think that's gonna be right, but we'll give it a try. Yeah, kinda. I have no idea what else to put in there. I've exhausted my creativity for the day. But hopefully, that gives you an idea of what it's like to make music using a tracker program. I don't think I went over any of the columns on this. Let me load up a mod, because it'll be easier to see what all the columns do. I'm actually going to save what we did here, because it's a pretty nice melody. And let's load up... Here you go. I can play like maybe 5 seconds of this before I get demonetized, but you know what this is. Yeah. Anyway, so the columns on each channel, right? So the first one is obviously the note you're playing, and it's the note and the octave. We go from octaves 0 through 7, so we have 8 octaves of range. Then this next column here, this is a mod, so it doesn't have all the features of Fast Tracker. Hang on, let's do zap. Oh, it still thinks it's a mod. Let's reload. Are you 4 channels? No, you're not 4 channels. Am I making this up? No, I'm on on crack. I'm making this up. Okay, so first column is your note. Second column is the instrument. It's which instrument plays, and that's literally just the instrument ID up here in the upper right corner. So you can see this instrument 12, which is hex 12. So we go to this third bank of instruments here. There's instrument 12. We can demo that. Maybe. No, we can't. Why can't we demo it? Oh, because I don't have anything defined as a recording. No. is going well. Here we go. So that's not what I expected that to be, but you know, that's what that is. The first channel there is using instrument 11. Then I think our melody is on channels 2 and 3. So that is instrument 16 and 14. No, never mind. What did I load up here? Did I load up the right mod? No, I didn't. That's why. I loaded up the wrong mod. That'll do it. I'm doing well today, y'all. I'm doing real well. Okay, something recognizable. Channel 1. We're using instrument number 4. If we demo, we audition instrument number 4. That's what we're expecting to hear. Oh, channel 1 here is using instrument C. In this bank here is yet another synth brass. Oh, alright. So sorry. Oh, this is a train wreck. So in an XM, in a fast tracker module, you've got your first column is your note and your octave. Second column is what instrument it is. Third column is actually your direct volume column. XMs let you do a volume, set a volume, along with using an effect, which is nice. And then of course the last column we talked about, which is your effects, which is, you know, 0 through F, and then parameters, or in the case of the E extended effects, you've got E and then another 0 through F number of effects to choose from, and then one parameter. But yeah, that is how you make music with a tracker program. Navigating around is mostly arrow keys. I'm just using the arrow keys to like move from column to column, and then you can use tab to move from channel to channel. And if you're you're modifying the instruments in a channel, you tab, you'll go not to the instrument channel of the other channel. I thought you would. You don't. You should go straight to the instrument or the note. Anyway, that is it for, I think, the demo today. We're on this weird machine though. We may as well run a quick. Oh, and of course, to quit, you just press escape. Let's run a quick speed sys on this machine so y'all can see what this thing is and what we're using for hardware. That is in bench, DOS bench, and DOS bench. Pentium 133 with a Matrox Millenium. This is my 4 megabyte Millennium. Not that you need 4 megabytes of VRAM to screw around in DOS, but you know. Skilla says I made tons of XMs back in the day for demos. Nice. Nice. Heck yeah. Gut Bomb says time to bust out a CRT. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, if I had more space, I'd like to get a CRT again. I miss having one. I'll miss having one. But yeah, you can see we've this board likes to overclock this thing. We're currently running at 150 megahertz instead of 133. It's pretty much a crapshoot. If you reboot this thing, you'll get 133 or 150. Right now, apparently, we're getting 150, 60 megahertz bus with 2.5x multiplier. I kid you not. When I rebooted it on the stream, it was running at 133. Just did one Control-Alt-Delete, and it decided to run at 150 megahertz. This board is wild. Yeah, we got 64 megs of RAM because it's a late, Super Socket 7 board, so it takes SD RAM, and I think I've got a 32 megabyte stick floating around here somewhere, but like, that's so much RAM. That's so much RAM for DOS. Like, you're over 16 megabytes in DOS. What are you gonna do with it? What are you gonna do with it? But yeah, that is that is making music like it's 1995. I hope everybody had fun. I will, flushing noises. Guff Bomb says I would mail you a CRT, but you know, yeah, no, it would arrive. It would arrive here in pieces, because that's how our shipping system is these days. Nigel Rhodes says I have about 30 CRTs at the moment. All right, so let's do a quick. I'll show you what Quake is like on this. It's not bad. Pentium 130. Well, we're at 150. So Pentium 150 with a Matrox Millenium. Not terrible. It's not a terrible time. This is going to be really loud if this actually works. It's not, because it doesn't know what to do with an ultrasound. It's also very dark, because it's the Millennium. Thought I was being cute using the Millennium, and then I'm like, oh wait, this is actually really dark. Maybe too dark for YouTube compression. Sorry. There you go, 37 FPS. Not bad. What is dog hiding? 37.6 FPS in Quake. It's extremely playable for original Quake. But yeah, that's this little machine making a little music like it's 1995. I think the PicoGUS is going to find a permanent home in my permanent DOS gaming machine, the Pentium 2450. Mostly just to run Fast Tracker, because I love making mods on Fast Tracker with a GUS. It's just nice. It's just nice. So what does a GUS get you in Fast Tracker? Fast Tracker will run, you know, without a GUS. You can run it with a Sound Blaster. It'll mix the sounds in software. What a GUS will do is, obviously the GF1 back in the day could do 32 channels of MIDI output, and a Fast Tracker can just take that over and give you 32 channels of mod playback. And that's the XM format. You have up to 32 channels because it fits straight into a Gravis Ultrasound. And what it'll do is it'll take all that sound processing work off of your CPU. So you can, like I was doing back in high school, you can compose enormous module files, 20, 30 tracks on like a 486 66 or 486 DX4100, I think is what I had back then, before I got my AM5X86 133. I miss that machine. I miss that computer every day. Mostly I just miss the memories. But I miss that computer a lot. But yeah, that's I think that's it. I think I'm finally done. I'm sorry. I didn't demo as much as I wanted to. But let's play everybody out. Like I said, it's going to be a short stream today, because I am no musician. Yeah, hopefully everybody had fun, and there are links. I'll see if I can find some links to download Fast Tracker 2 and the Amiga Sound Library, and I'll throw them in the description of this stream, so you can grab it if you want to like play around with it yourself. But Fast Tracker isn't the only option out there. Scream Tracker was also a really popular DOS tracker, and of course Impulse Tracker. Forwent the GUS completely, because it allows you to do things like filter effects in software, especially if you had one of those newfangled Pentiums with MMX. Anyway, I hope everybody had a good time, and thanks for watching. Thanks for following along. What do we got here? Toiletus says, "Don't say that. I have a JVC video sphere on the way." Oh, hopefully your video sphere survives. I really hope it survives. Nigel Rhodes says, "I've decided to go with an S3 Verge DX and a Voodoo 1 in my GA586 TX3 with a K62 400. Nice. Nice. Yeah, that's not bad. I'd say maybe the K62 is a bit much for the Voodoo, but, I'd say maybe a Pentium 166 or one of the MMX Pentiums would probably be a better fit for that system, but, nothing wrong with the K6. And, the K6 is going to make Windows a lot faster than a Pentium would be. I love that that high-speed integer unit in the K6. It's a good chip. Nigel says trackers can be so much fun. They can. You can waste a lot of time in a tracker and just make some really cool stuff. Especially if you start exploring the effects. There's so many things you can do with it. So many things. The Gut Bomb says, I'm using the TNT2 with my Pentium 2 266. Yeah, that's a good combo. It's classic. TNT2 and a slot 1 CPU. That was big stuff back in the day. No DOS 3D effects games, whatever. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. The DOS 3D effects stuff, like, it was cool at the time, but the games themselves these days are kind of mid to play in. They're not great. They're not great. Yeah, there you go, exactly. Nigel says I was using a Pentium 200 MMX with it, but I felt like a little extra power. Yeah, you know, 400 megahertz K62 do exactly that. Exactly that. All right, y'all. Have a good one. I hope you had fun today, and I will talk to you in the next stream and or video. We'll see. Have a good one, and take care of yourselves and others. May the PC parts be ever in your favor.